What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to your first weekend update today on Bitcoin. And there's a lot to talk about. All right, last time I covered Bitcoin was yesterday in the middle of the day, after we just got some positive news, which is the main thing we have to talk about as well. Because in the end, what that turned into is a little bit of a bull trap. So what happened yesterday to kind of get back, and I'll try to tell you everything you need to know in kind of a concise way. But what we got yesterday is we got some positive unemployment numbers with the non-farm payrolls and unemployment rates being worse than expected. So usually what that means is that, all right, well, unemployment is rising, so the interest rates are going down, which is good for crypto and risk on assets. However, that is usually true, all right? Usually it is true until the unemployment rate goes up so much that there are scares of a recession, all right? A recession is obviously bad for risk on assets because that means that retail and investors are having a tough time, all right? So then obviously you're going to be bearish. And those recession fears, and there's a lot going on around that have been going on for a while already. If you look at something like the Nasdaq, has already fallen down a lot. Russell 2000, which is risk on assets, has dropped down a ton, as you can see, since the 31st of July. Basically, Bitcoin was a little bit bearish before that already, but all right. And most importantly, the S&P 500, also relatively bearish here, has dropped down quite a bit since the 16th of July. So that's mostly why we're bearish. There's obviously, you can always name other factors, and those are not necessarily false, but I think that's the main cause of this, because if we're getting into some sort of a bigger global recession, then Bitcoin is just not necessarily at this point of time, maybe later, but at this point of time, it's not the asset where you want to have your money in. So that's why we're seeing a sell-off, and that's also why I have to be bearish on Bitcoin until we see some economic data, or some data in general kind of disproving that we're getting into a recession, because it's not 100% certain. It's just that certain statistics and certain numbers are giving indications that we are getting into a recession. So we have to wait for that. But for now, I have to fundamentally be bearish on Bitcoin. I do think that like the most important level we're heading for right now, first of all, it's the weekend now, so I don't expect much movement. Volume is still relatively high because yesterday, of course, we had a massive sell-off, like the biggest sell-off we've seen, well, since last month. But over the course of this weekend, I actually do expect some sort of stability. Stability as in relatively less movement or relatively less dumping than we saw over the course of last week. But I do think that ultimately, I think we can have some bullish momentum kind of today or tomorrow. But ultimately, I do think we're going lower. All right. So what that means is that if you look at this bigger market structure, I still think that there's a major support level right here, just under 60,000, and I will try to buy from there as a trade. It's just that technically, provided I have my own strategy, I have to take that trade. So I do think that there's a lot of support here, right, between 60,000 and ultimately all the way down to like 56,000. And I do think we'll find support there. But for now, the short-term momentum and what I expect is that, today, tomorrow, next 24 hours will be relatively stable. But I do expect we'll drop down into that. And we'll find support along the way here and there. But ultimately, I don't see any reason, provided with the information we have right now, right? So that a recession seems to be the most likely scenario. If that's the case, then I don't think, even though we have the bullish fundamentals, I don't think August is going to be bullish. I still think the fourth quarter of this year is going to be bullish. So I'm not bearish on crypto as a whole, but I do think the most likely direction for now is still bearish. All right, so we'll get back to that. If the recession scares were too early and if it's not true, etc., then we will readjust the bias. But for now, I think you need to be most prepared for this. All right. Like I said, keep your eyes on that level at 59,700. I think we can get a nice bounce from there. But outside of that, bearish momentum is still most likely. So those are my thoughts. That's what I think you need to know. If you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments. For now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.